Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thursday, April 1st, 2021. This is Morning Joey. I'm your host, Joey Molinaro. Hope you're having a great morning so far. It is a big day, great day. Excited to be here because it is opening day. That's right. As you can see, I got my full Cubs garb on. I am ready to go. A little bit of the throwback look, the throwback pinstriped hat, I forget what year it is, but the throwback Anthony Rizzo throwback jersey. Trying to get that good juju, that good magic to come in to get the Ricketts to say, yeah, we're going to pay this man what he deserves. So great show today. For those watching on YouTube, as always, be sure to subscribe to the channel below. We're here every day, 9 to 10 a.m. More videos to follow as well. Cup of Joey mug, Cup of Joey dad hat. Link for that in the description below as well. Juju Smith-Schuster One Last Ride t-shirt. Those are selling like hotcakes. Just got mine in yesterday. Probably going to wear it this weekend. That's below. Everything you need in the description below. But thanks for being here. Happy opening day to you. Hope that your team, unless it's the Pirates, even though I love Pittsburgh, unless it's the Pirates today, wins and gets the season off right. It's sunny in Indianapolis. Chilly, but sunny. It's going to be sunny up at Wrigley, I hope. Going to be chilly there as well. And we're going to have a lot of Cubs talk today. We got Barstool Carl coming up at 9:45-ish. He's going to break everything down. He wrote a blog yesterday or a couple days ago that was like, I don't know what's going on with the Cubs. It's crazy that we've gotten to this point after, in 2015, 2016, no one would have thought that in 2021 you'd be going into a season without Bryant, Rizzo, Baez not having an extension, as well as happy trying to get my hat, nothing new, as well as Schwarber gone, Lester gone. Albert Almora Jr. didn't work out. I mean, so we're gonna hammer it out. We probably will go past 10 o'clock because we're gonna hammer it out. We're gonna try to figure out what's going on, talk expectations for this season, what we like, what we don't like. But it's opening day, so it's a great day to just, like I tweeted last night, go to the gas station, get you some Big League Chew, get you some seeds. Stack up on seeds. If you're into tobacco, chewing tobacco, whatever. If that's you, that's you. Not going to encourage it, whatever. I do it during baseball season. My mom's going to freak out because she's watching, I'm sure. Get what you need to get and sit down and watch some baseball. It's all American. It's pure. It's here. Thank God. Then before that, we got Robbie Hummel, another guy, which I got to ask him about this because I've been hearing on the broadcast, I don't know if he's a Cubs fan. I don't know if he's a Sox guy now because the Sox are on the up and up. So I'm going to break that down with him. But Purdue legend, current ESPN broadcaster, Robbie Hummel, stopping by at 9:30. Going to talk about the Final Four. Going to talk about the 3-on-3 tournament going on this weekend. Going to talk about Indianapolis. Going to talk about Purdue, of course. This is a big show, guys. I'm really, really excited. And like I said, the sun is shining out in Indianapolis. I can bust out my Cubs gear. And I know that at 2:20, first pitch is going to be happening with the professor on the mound. And we got Boog in the booth this year. Going to miss Lynn, but I'm excited as hell about Boog. JD, it's a soundtrack of the summer, and it's back. And I'm really, really excited. So like I said, merch below, subscribe below. And I'm going to explain my fandom again because this is confusing to a lot of people. And I know that there's going to be people in the comments. I know there's going to be people on the stream. And I know there's going to be people who are still, while I'm rooting for the Cubs, are going to ask, this is how it goes down, okay? Professional basketball. I'm a Pacers fan, unfortunately. Grew up in Indianapolis, Reggie Miller days, hometown team, love them, ride with them, ride or die. There you go. NFL. Dad grew up in Indianapolis, but he was like 14 years old by the time that the Colts got here. He was already diehard into the Steelers, stuck with them, passed it down to me. I grew up with it. Huge Steelers fan. Cubs, same thing. No baseball team in Indianapolis, all right? No professional baseball team in Indianapolis. My dad grew up with, Harry Carey, later on WGN, in the 80s and everything. Ryan Sandberg, that whole crew, Leon Durham, Rick Sutcliffe, Andre Hawk, all those people. And he passed it down to me again. And so I grew up in a Cubs house, and we were going up to Wrigley every summer if I was lucky. Actually, not every summer. I didn't get to go to Wrigley until my 10th birthday, and it was awesome. Sat down the right field line. Cubs Cardinals in September. Sammy Sosa sprinted out down the right field line. It was amazing. Chills. And then the bottom of the first, he got tossed for arguing balls and strikes. Both of us had our Sosa jerseys on, so we saw him for a half inning, and then he got tossed. in the bottom of the first. But the Cubs won that day, and then they went on to win the division that year. So it was all good. Anyways, my point being is that I grew up at a Cubs house. I grew up, with WG on and watching the boys at Wrigley. So that's the fandom there. Those are professional teams. That's why it is. When you're in Indianapolis, you got limited options when it comes to baseball. And then, you don't have limited options because everybody's a Reds fan, everybody's a Cardinals fan or a Cubs fan, or even a little bit of some White Sox fans. But yeah, that's just how it goes. So that's who I'm riding with. That's who I've been riding with my whole life. So I know that on Twitter there's going to be, people. Wait a second, you refer to what? You refer to the Cubs? Wait a second. Well, you had that Pirates hat on at one time. What? Wait a sec. Just that's how it is. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm explaining to them. Okay. I'm letting everybody know so we can get on the same page because it's opening day and I don't want to have to deal with the summer and hopefully a fall of everybody saying, what? You're a Cubs fan? Oh, yeah, easy to be a Cubs fan now. What? Dude, I was a Cubs fan since 93. I got the pictures up on my Twitter. I came out the womb with the fucking blue pinstripes on, all right? You don't know jack. And yeah, I got lucky. They won in my 23rd year of existence. But if I was hopping on the bandwagon, don't you think I would have hopped off by now? Because they haven't done shit since. So, yeah. All right, let's get into triple shot before Robbie Hummel hops on. Like I said, opening day. First pump, opening day. Happy opening day to you. I told you yesterday, I said, be on the lookout. There's going to be a little opening day content coming from me. And you just didn't know at the time that it was going to be me and Johnson. Had baseball guys up. If you haven't seen it, I retweeted it this morning. It's on my Instagram. It's on Ben's TikTok, Benedict Polizzi on TikTok. And it's just Johnson and Schmitty being Johnson and Schmitty, man. Needing some relief pitchers and downing some beers and having fun being baseball guys. Sunglasses on top of the head. There you go. I told you it was coming yesterday. Game yesterday. It's out there. Happy opening day. Go check it out. But I'm thinking opening day, where does it rank for openers? And it doesn't just have to be sports. It could be, sports. It can be movies. It could be opening for a movie. So I'm thinking opening day, and again, because it's opening day in baseball, obviously a little bit of bias here going on, but I do rank baseball up there. I rank it up there probably second behind the first Sunday of the NFL. And that's a bias thing because, I'm just going to stop saying that. I'm going to stop saying that. I'm tired of saying that. But the NFL, knowing you have a full slate all Sunday, it's back. The shitty preseason's over. Full slate at 1, full slate at 4. Everybody's playing. Sunday night game. Collinsworth doing the slide in hopefully this year. Tough to beat. But opening day is very close. Opening day Major League Baseball is very close because – you have it called kickoff or, some weird marketing thing for basketball. It's like hoops hype, hysteria, hoops tip. But opening day is like, that's baseball. It's like that belongs to baseball, And so just the saying of it is the best one. But I think just because with football, the first game of now 17, but then 16, every game just matters so much. So it's like it's great on opening day and we're excited, but you still got a series of 3 coming up right after it. So even if the Cubs do fall, today, if the Pirates score in the top of the 9th and we can't get it done in the bottom, then hey, let's get them tomorrow, boys. That's the beautiful part about baseball. I will say, opening day of a movie, opening night of a movie, that's in my mind, that's like a 1. You got a 1 with NFL, you got a 1A with opening day baseball, and then like a 2+ or 1B, whichever one that works better. When there's a movie that you're really, really dying to see, and it's finally in theaters, you can finally go see it, whether that be a Marvel movie or whether it be a Star Wars movie or whether that be like when Joker came out. I know that was a big thing the Batman movies. For me, if a Star Wars movie's coming out, that opening day of knowing, wow, we're counting down the hours. I'm going to be sitting in the theater, used to, hopefully soon again, sitting in the theater, and that opening crawl is going to hit me, and it's going to be magical. So that's right there. I think those are definitely the top three, though. Basketball, unless the NBA is opening on Christmas Day, like it did in 2011, and it almost did this year. But unless the NBA is opening up on Christmas Day, then I don't really have much for basketball. Like I said, college, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving or that week before Thanksgiving is always a huge week of opening, the feast, the hoops feast or whatever they call it. That is nice, but it's still not the same one consistent day that we all know, and it's all designated to, and you're all waking up on Twitter, and everything on Twitter you see right now is opening day, and people sharing stuff of going to the ballpark when they were a kid and all that kind of shit. So I don't see basketball really on this list at all. It's opening day football. College football is up there too. But the shitty part about college football, my cat and my dog are going to freak out because my dog is just trying to get to know and play with one of my cats, Remy. And then Remy freaks out and he doesn't like Happy being around him, even though Happy's been here for over a month. And he'll do this thing. Remy will he'll rub his head into Happy as like an endearing thing, but he's meowing and kind of screaming at the same time. I don't know. They're getting better. But the thing about college football opening weekend, the first Saturday of college football is the excitement is there, and it's great to have game day and our game day show on. It's like, boom, college football. Here we go. We're getting into the routine of Saturdays. But, it's always tough when majority of the games, it's like LSU versus McNeese State, and Alabama versus Southwestern Missouri. It's you got a handful of your games that you're really, really excited about, but a whole bunch of them are just like the cupcake bullshit games. You're just like, this is fine. This is good to have the game on and know that it's back. But you're really with college football, and I'll watch every single one of them. Don't get me wrong. Like the first Saturday of college football, I am there at noon for Eastern Michigan at Purdue. It's at 3:30 Alabama versus Georgia State, and then 7, like I said, LSU McNeese State with the nice mix in of that Chick-fil-A opening bowl or whatever the hell it is, opening kickoff in not the Georgia Dome anymore, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm there for it all, but it's just still kind of just this is great, but get me to the end of September, the first weekend in October when it's like the lineup is stacked, Noon, you got Iowa, Michigan, and 3:30, you got Auburn and Florida, and then 7, you got LSU and LSU and fucking South Carolina, whoever. That's when it really gets good. So opening days, you got NFL right below it, Major League Baseball right below that, probably tied. Right below that, movies. Opening day for a movie, and then you got college football, and then way below all that is college basketball and the NBA. If there's any other opening days I'm missing, let me know. Opening day of summer. I like that. Opening day of summer as a kid, that's pretty good, Andrew. That is pretty good. I like that a lot. Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for waking up with me. This is very exciting. Benji, I think everyone has a complicated fandom in Indy. Exactly. And people get so shitty at me all the time about it. I'm just like, and I just got a text from, I think my wife said, clean off the camera when you can for a second. So, but I'll leave that up there from Benji. I think everyone has a complicated fandom from Indy. Exactly. Because we're not, we're a thriving sports town in terms of hosting, in terms of basketball, in terms of, again, having people come here for us. But when you look at the history of our town of Indianapolis, stop with the shoe, Happy. When you look at the history of our town in terms of sports, we're babies. The Colts didn't get here until 84. The Pacers didn't start up, and they were in the ABA in the 60s and 70s. Don't have a Major League Baseball team. So we have this whole generation that is just now getting past the grassroots of being with, we got the Pacers. Oh, we got the Colts that are super good, because, my parents and my grandparents, they all grew up. You had to root for the Bears and you had to root for the Browns and the Cubs and the Reds because we just simply didn't have it. That's why college basketball has always been so huge, and high school basketball even, because we're a basketball state. We're the Hoosier State. And that's all we had for so long was, Bobby Knight and IU hoops and Slick Leonard way back in the day, and Purdue hoops with Gene Katie and everything like that. And then now the professional sports are just now starting to catch up. So yeah, most people from Indy are going to have complicated sports fandom. It's not that big of a deal, but I just have to explain to everybody. That's it. Not mad. I just want to explain to everybody and get everybody on the same page. Opening day, the Masters from Matt. Yeah, I mean, I'm slowly, as I'm getting older, the more dad jokes start to become prevalent for me, and I wear khakis more regularly, and I sleep more often. The golf and the Masters are starting to get there. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get with it more. My brother-in-law loves golf. Both of my brother-in-laws love golf. A lot of my friends, obviously, it's all they fucking talk about is golf. So I'm kind of forcing my hand. I have to get there. I have to like it. But yeah, that's an exciting one as well. From eBearcat9, Larry Bird brought out some Celtics fans. Absolutely. Yeah. And there still are. When the Celtics come to play here, there's still Banker's Life has a really, really good amount of Celtics folks. And, you have Brad Stevens, but then the generation before, you had Larry Bird. So you have this weird, Indiana has always had, it feels like this like odd tie with the Celtics, just because of Larry Bird and now Brad Stevens and, that whole thing. So absolutely, man. People get it. I'm glad people are getting it. This is good. Pump shot number 2. I saw this morning from my guy, Noah Outlaw on Twitter. He's really connected in Star Wars. He dropped some news that apparently there's going to be a young Kylo Ren series on Disney Plus that's going to be happening in 2022-ish. And rumor has it that Finn Wolfhard, Mike from Stranger Things, and the kid with glasses from It, the most recent It's, Finn Wolfhard is going to be the guy that's going to play him. Now, he posted a side-by-side, and they got a lot of the same features, kind of fairly pale, pasty skin, long, super dark hair. Their features, they got a protruding nose and like their lips and their jaw, it all kind of matches up. And at first I was like, man, Finn Wolfhard, like this kid is in everything. And I think of him from Mike from Stranger Things, and he's always just like whining and complaining but then I'm like, that was his character that he was playing as a kid. And now that he's gotten older, and by the time this comes out, he'll be even more, he won't be as childish, right, as he was in Stranger Things. I'm thinking, all right, this could be good. I'm intrigued. I would at least, look, I'm going to watch everything Star Wars, but certain things move the needle, as they say in radio speak, in radio world. This is one of those things that moves the needle for me. I'm a huge Kylo Ren, Ben Solo fan, mostly because of Adam Driver, pretty much all because of Adam Driver. For those who don't know, Adam Driver is from Indiana. He grew up in Mishawaka, Indiana. He went to the University of Indianapolis for his first year of college, which is the same university that I graduated from. Obviously, he's like 10 years older than me, so we didn't overlap, but we were walking the same hallway, so we have that connection. So I'm a huge Adam Driver guy. And also the fact that he's a tremendous actor doesn't hurt. So anything with him, anything with Ben Solo, anything with Kylo Ren moves the needle for me. And I think that there's a lot of meat left on that bone. Especially because we didn't meet Kylo Ren until he was Kylo Ren, and he was in the movies in his mid-20s, late 20s. So you have from birth, right after Return of the Jedi, all the way up through his fall to Kylo Ren and his rise as a Sith. There's a lot there. Now, would Finn be able to have the same physical presence that Adam Driver does? He's a big guy. He's a menacing guy. Finn Wolfhard is like, you feel like you could pick him up with one hand and just bench press him like this. Bo Jackson could take him and snap him over his freaking knee. But, if this is the case, then they have people who are paid a lot of money to make him be that way. So I trust it. I think it would be cool. I think anytime that you can get a big name like a Finn Wolfhard into a Star Wars production, that's only a win for us Star Wars people. I really do. You saw the Kenobi series that got announced, everybody who's going to be in that. Good Lord. Stacked. Stacked with big name actors and actresses. And I think that's all you can ask for, because that means that Star Wars is staying relevant and people care and people want to be in it. Therefore, the people who want to be in it have the people who are going to want to watch it. Now I'm getting into McConaughey, you got to. So I'm with it. I woke up and I saw it and I was kind of like, the whiny kid that looks like a bird from Stranger Things. But now I've thought more about it and I've looked at that picture more and more. And I'm like, I like this. If that is to be the case, I think we can make that happen. Now, the question then becomes, if it's a young Kylo Ren series, do we see Alden Ehrenreich reprise his role as Han Solo, as a younger, middle-aged Han Solo, to be the dad of a young Ben Solo, Finn Wolfhard? Do we see a recasting of Leia, a younger Leia? Does Donald Glover hop in as Lando coming in and out? So that's really interesting, because you're going to have that prime time, like I said, right after Return of the Jedi, right up until Force Awakens, I'm sure, or a few years before that, where Finn was going to be playing a young Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, and you're going to have all these pieces around him. So I'm down for it. Very interesting. It'll be very interesting. Thanks, man. Yeah, Anthony Rizzo. I wore this opening day in 2016 when they were playing the Angels and they went on to win the World Series. So, RJ, thanks for waking up, man, or staying up. I haven't slept yet, but figured Joey was on. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I got Robbie Hummel coming up here in about 5 minutes or so. So stick around for that. And then Barstool Carl talking all Cubs after that. So I'm seeing a lot of Cubs questions in there. I'm glad. And stick around for Carl around 9:45. That's all we're going to be talking about. Last shot number 3. Let's pump it this morning. I saw this viral tweet when I was doing some prep this morning that somebody just took a picture of what looked like a grilled burger. Not a grill, like a 4th of July. You're out at a cookout, like a cookout burger, and it was plain, and the top bun was off it, and it said, what are your 4 perfect toppings? You get 4 toppings to put on a burger. So obviously people are opinionated about this, including myself. And I'm here to tell you that the 4 perfect toppings for a cookout burger or a burger you're going to get at like a brew burger or a Fat Dan's are the following: cheese, ketchup, mustard, and pickle. That's it. That's all you need. Wipe your hands and walk away. That's it. Ketchup and mustard, the perfect combination for hot dog, for burger, any of those grilled or fried foods like that. Ketchup, you get a little bit of the sweetness. Mustard, you get the tangy. Combine them together, and then with the pickle, you get the crunch. Right? Those four things with the cheese on top, because, if you're having no cheese burger, a little dry, I never trust people who just like hamburgers. You got to have the cheeseburger. Hamburger, too dry. Makes me think of, being at like a 4th of July cookout, and I'm sitting there with the cookout legs, and it's just a hamburger, and I'm literally like trying to just choke it down because it's so hot, and you got the bun, and you got the dry ass burger with no cheese or anything on it. No. Like, the only time that you can eat a hamburger and get away with it, in my opinion, when it's just a hamburger, is when like somebody mass produced them at maybe a cookout, and you've had a little bit too much to drink, or when you're a kid, you've just been playing, you're starving, and then there's like, oh yeah, get some burgers in there. We don't have much in there, but they're already got their buns on them, and you're like, I don't even care. Give it to me, down them. That's it. 4 perfect toppings on a burger. Stay with me: cheese, ketchup, mustard, pickle. Got everything you need. Best combination. It's meant to be on a burger. Can't do mayo. Can't do, I don't need mayo on there. I don't need lettuce on there. I don't need a fucking tomato on there at all. This is an interesting one. I'm getting a lot of bacon. From Look At Me Now. Cheese, bacon, barbecue sauce, and ranch. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Luke. I have not tried that. That sounds really, really good. That combination of things you can't really go wrong with. So maybe I'm going to go and I'm going to customize a burger, this weekend or something, and get cheese, bacon, barbecue sauce, and ranch. That's not bad. Getting people with a lettuce from Glenn. Peanut butter on a burger, game changer. I was not introduced to that until I went on, I think, my 2nd or 3rd date with my now wife. And she was like, I wonder if they have a peanut butter burger. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, yeah, putting peanut butter on a burger. And I was like, that combination makes absolutely 0 sense. And then the more she talked to me about it, and the more I saw it, I was like, you know what? You can't really go wrong with peanut butter on anything. Well, I'll give it a shot. Gave it a shot, and it was really, really good. She was not wrong. It's almost like peanut butter on a burger was kind of a comparison to when I first heard about ranch with pizza. Those two things didn't make sense. You had like a dairy product that goes on salads mostly, and then you put it on pizza with the fucking red sauce and the pepperoni. I was like, maybe sausage. I'm like, what is this? Then you try it, and it's a game changer. And then you can't eat anything that has to do with pizza, really anything, without ranch anymore. So I like that, Luke. Thanks for the recommendation. Cheese, bacon, barbecue sauce, and ranch. Now, if we go with like the kind of like the Mexicali burger, or like the Texas burger, that has a barbecue sauce, the onions, the shredded onions, the bacon bits, the cheese. That's a really good combo as well. But my go-to, the perfect one, you can never go wrong with, all American in my eyes: cheese, pickle, ketchup, mustard. Yeah, Jackson, you make a good point. That XXX connection. For Rye, for my wife. Yep. Purdue. They up there, XXX. They're known for the peanut butter burger up there. So Paul says ranch is just elite. Yeah, I mean it's a problem because it's like you want to put it on everything, and it's just so many calories, and you immediately get chubby face. But it's just too good. It's just too good. All right, the man from Purdue legend. First time talking to him, so I'm excited. He was in college while I was in high school, not to age him, but, I was like, oh, Robbie Hummel and Etwan Moore and Jawan Johnson and, Boiler legend, ESPN broadcaster, Robbie Hummel. Robbie,
what's up,
good
man?
morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to meet you. I know this is the first time I've gotten to talk and chat a little bit, so it's good to meet you. Thanks for waking up with me this morning.
Of course. Nice to meet you too.
How's are you in Indy right now, or where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Indianapolis. I've been here. outside of like one day, and I was in Evansville for 2 days too. But yeah, I've been on the road kind of for the last 2 weeks since the NCAA tournament started. And I did first and second round games for Westwood 1, and then went home for a day back to Chicago, and then flew down to Evansville and did the Division II National Championship for radio, and then came back up here, did 2 Elite Eight games Monday and Tuesday, and now I'm here till Sunday doing the 3x3U stuff.
Right. So so when you're not doing broadcast on TV for ESPN, then you're just doing radio.
So I actually work for like a bunch of different people. I do some stuff for Big Ten Network. I do some stuff for ESPN. And then Westwood 1 has all of the tournament games. And they use a lot of people from ESPN and Big Ten Network and other networks to do the NCAA tournament. So this would be my third year had COVID not chopped the tournament last year.
Right.
So this is technically my second year of doing the NCAA tournament.
Gotcha. All right. So what do you like different about TV compared to radio?
Well, radio is kind of like you're stealing money as the analyst because it's got to be the play-by-play guy show. Like you can't see what's going on. So your play-by-play guy, it's his deal. So I was with Jason Benetti for the first 2 rounds, who I work with a lot at ESPN. And then I was with Brandon Gaudin for the Division II game, and Brandon's at Big Ten Network, so I work with him a ton. And then I was with Ryan Radke, who is a Westwood 1 guy for the Elite Eight games. But they have to paint the picture, So TV is more of an analyst game. Radio, you're just kind of like hanging out, especially if you've got 2 teams that run up and down. If there's a lot of transition going on, you just sit there and watch because they've got to be telling you what's going on from side to side. So like my first year, I was in Des Moines, Iowa, doing the first and second rounds with Kevin Kugler, who's another Big Ten Network play-by-play guy. And we had Michigan State. And when you have Michigan State, because they're known for their transition offense, after every defensive possession Michigan State had, you might as well just sit back and you could drink some coffee. You could enjoy, right? Because you're not going to say anything because they're coming right into it. So that's kind of the deal with radio versus TV.
Right. Was that a weird transition for you? Tough transition for you?
No, I can always shut up. It's not that hard to do that. It is tough because sometimes you feel like you have a really good point to make, and you just there's no time to get it in, and the game moves on, and you're like, you just got to kind of let it go.
When I did, because I kind of came up and grew up doing, in college and everything, radio play-by-play. And sure. I remember a few times if I had a color commentator that, struggled to get the point in, I just had to run him over and just go on to the next thing. Has that happened with you? Is Benetti just kind of, hey, shut the fuck up?
Jason, no, because I think I knew what I was doing because I've done stuff for Westwood. I've done some stuff for ESPN Radio. But my first year, yeah. I remember my first game doing radio. I actually did it with Ryan Radke, who I was here with at the Elite Eight. And we were doing Nevada, Utah out in Salt Lake City. And this was like 3 years ago now. And I'd never done a radio game. So he just at one point kind of big dog me, just talked over the top. And he had to. So I was making a point. Somebody got a steal. It ends up being a dunk. And like on radio, those guys are really, really good at not only telling you everything that's happening, but also like crushing big plays and like big calls. They're so good at that.
Yeah.
And you hear it a lot, like at the end of games when they'll replay these radio calls and these guys have these like super awesome calls of sending teams on to the next round or an awesome dunk that they just knock out of the park. And not that they don't do it on TV because they're good at it on that too, but yeah, I've been there. I've been stampeded by the play-by-play guy. I think everybody has.
Right. That next commercial break is always interesting, but right after that, because it's kind of like the awkward, you know what I mean? Like you don't really want to say anything, but then the play-by-play guy's like, hey, I just had to, get on the next.
Yeah. Yeah. I always just apologize. I'm sorry, dude. I was totally in your space there. So
right.
It definitely is what you're saying, but as long as you have a good partner, it's not bad.
Sure. So you're in Indy, and we have this entire. I'm located in Indianapolis as well, and so we have this entire tournament, this historic thing that's going on. And I've asked Kyle Guy this with him being an Indianapolis native. I know you're not an Indianapolis native, but you've been here plenty of times and you're an Indiana native. For those people on the outside of the state who look at what's going on here this year and then moving forward, what would you say to them as to the reason why Indianapolis and the state of Indiana is the perfect place to host this tournament like they're doing right now?
I mean, I think Indianapolis is like so well put together to host anything because they've been doing it for like 100 years with the Indy 500. So you've got like a really good background of doing that.
Yeah,
I always thought the Big Ten tournament was by far the best here. And when I was in college, all 5 years that I was at Purdue, all 5 years it was at Bankers Life. The hotels are right there, restaurants, bars, the arena's walkable. I think that's the biggest thing for these cities. So like New Orleans does a great job because Bourbon Street, the Superdome is right there. You can walk, and you compare that to like Phoenix, where the football stadium is out in Glendale by the baseball spring training facilities. It's like a 40-minute drive from downtown Phoenix. You can't you have to find a way out there.
Yeah.
Indianapolis is totally opposite of that. You can be downtown. You can kind of get wherever you need, and it will be a quick Uber or a walk, or it's a really easy city to get around. And then you also look at how many good venues they have. Like, you have 2 courts at Lucas Oil. You've got the stadium out at the fairgrounds, which everyone said is a pretty cool place. I've never been. I've been outside of it, but I've never been in.
The renovations there, yeah. I mean, definitely, it's right up there with anybody now. So
right. So that's a nice spot. Bankers Life is obviously really nice. You've got Purdue and Indiana that are 50 minutes away, so that those come into play. Hinkle, I think, with the renovation, I haven't been to Hinkle outside of 1 or 2 times since like 6th grade. So we did games there. I used to play the Indiana State AAU tournament there. So we played there as like 6th graders. So I remember it back then, and they've certainly done a lot of work and made it really nice on the inside. But there's just so many good places to host stuff. There's great arenas. And then you mix that with a city that's just really good at hosting conventions, sporting events in general. And I think Indianapolis makes a ton of sense.
You've been to the Indy 500? You have experience at IMS?
Yeah. I have, yes. I've been in the infield twice. It's a really good time. It can kind of be whatever you want it to be. You go up into the tower, and it's more of a Kentucky Derby type event where I think there's people
movie stars and shit. Yeah.
And then you get out in the infield, and there's like a rave going on at like the techno concerts that are going down.
So you're in the snake pit then, huh?
I've seen the snake pit. I've only been in like the infield, which is just like the tailgating area where you get like all walks of life. I think it's a pretty diverse situation. I think the Indy 500 was a great time. It's a really good time.
The snake pit is intimidating. It's especially when it's like 90 degrees and you're just like, you see all those bodies, even pre-COVID, you're like, that's probably not good.
It doesn't look like a good idea to venture into. And it's always like some intense DJ, like Skrillex is playing, and like it just looks like it's so hardcore. So I've witnessed that. I've watched it from the outside of the snake pit, but I have never gone in. And at 32, those days are probably over of doing that. So, but I would go back to the Indy 500. I'm not sure how much of the race I've ever actually watched. I think you watch like the start and you watch like the last 10 laps on the TV or 20 laps or whatever. But it's more of just an excuse to go and drink a lot of beer.
But you said it could be whatever you want it to be. And Doug Bowles, the president of IMS, he's even open about that. He's like, look, like, we're not asking everybody to just watch every lap. Like, come have a party, have fun, and like, we'll make it work, Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. All right. Obviously, Boiler legend. You were there from what, 2006, 2010?
7 to 12, actually. I would have graduated in 11, but because I redshirted with my knee, I stayed next year.
Okay. So obviously you have ties with the program and everything. What are your thoughts on this past year for them, the trajectory moving forward for Purdue and this program?
I thought they had a phenomenal year. I mean, you think about where they were in like January when they're down big at Michigan State, and you think about halftime there. It's like, man, this looks like it could go one of two ways here. And they come back in that game, steal one on the road. You beat Ohio State twice, which I guess maybe doesn't look as good now that they get bounced by Oral Roberts. But Oral Roberts looked pretty good. With as many young guys as they play, it's hard in college basketball, especially as good as the league. I still, even with the NCAA tournament, I still do think the Big Ten was really, really good this year.
Sure.
I know they didn't perform well when it mattered the most, but I do think there was a lot of good teams, a deep league. You look at the freshmen that play. Jaden Ivey is uber talented. I mean, he might be the most talented freshman that Coach Painter has had in his time from like a physical standpoint, where he can just
even including you, Juwan, Etwan, all those guys.
I'm not athletic. Etwan Moore is a good athlete or a solid athlete by NBA standards, but I think when you look at Etwan, he is a phenomenal basketball player, and he's not in like the 99 percentile of where you look at some of these NBA guys are. Yeah, and I've always laughed about Etwan. Like you give him a basketball and he is so natural, but you put him in like the swimming pool. Like we used to do these swimming relays for conditioning at the co-rec.
Yeah,
if Etwan was on your team, you literally had no chance. He's not good at swimming. You look at like some of the other sports that you might play, like Drew Anthrop is good at like everything except golf. You give him a baseball bat, he's hitting home runs. You give him a football, he can throw a football a mile. He's good at like everything. Etwan is really good at basketball. I'm not sure that Etwan is great at other sports, but you give him, you put the basketball in his hands, he is so smooth and fluid.
So you're saying Jaden could go play wide receiver for Purdue? He's that kind of athlete.
Yeah, I think that he is. So you watch him move, you watch how explosive he is. You watch him just move his feet defensively, and it looks like it's so easy for him to guard really good players. Juwan was certainly very athletic at 6'10", but he was also so skinny, like his freshman year. He just wasn't like physically ready for the Big Ten from a physical standpoint. And then he got stronger, and by the time he was a sophomore, you're looking at one of the best bigs in the Big Ten. So I do think even with the three of us, Jaden is so naturally gifted. Brandon Newman, I know, didn't finish the season playing great, but I think really highly of him and his abilities. Ethan Morton doesn't play a lot, but I know Coach Painter really, really likes him, thinks really highly of him. So, yeah, and then you throw in like Zach. I mean, that's the 400 ranked recruit in the country. Like, there's no way. I guess he had gotten a lot better, or everybody missed the boat, or what, but.
Hey, he's 7'4", by the way, Robbie. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he is enormous. So he had a really good year.
Do you guys have like a quota on ESPN when you're doing a TV game where you like have to, the play-by-play guy has to hit a certain amount of reminders of how tall Edie is?
Not that I've seen in like a memo, but I will agree that you do hear it all the time. So if you didn't know, Zach Edey is 7'4", like you said.
There you go. I got a couple of fans who are followers who are asking questions here. Glenn wants to know best non-basketball related Purdue memory.
Ooh. There's a bunch. I mean, Snoop Dogg came and we got to hang out with him. That was awesome.
What, like came to like a house party or what?
No, he performed at the Elliott Hall of Music. So he was at Elliott, and it was the day after actually I blew my knee out the second time. So like some of the guys were like, let's go to the concert, let's go have fun, which was good for me. And he like brought us on stage, not like to like be out in front of the crowd, but like on the side to like watch him. And like he was awesome. He played all of his like hits. We got to hang out with him afterwards up in like one of the dressing rooms. He was really nice, actually. He was really cool. So that was sweet. Grand Prix Wiz Khalifa concert at SNU was really fun. And Mac Miller was there. Rest in peace to Mac Miller.
Yeah, is you a big Mac Miller guy? You
I liked him, but I love Wiz. Like and that was around the time like they booked Wiz, I think, like cheap. And then Rolling Papers, the CD comes out, and all of a sudden he's like this massive musical act. It's like they had it on the hill at SNU, and it was so fun. It ended up being like I'm not sure how each one had a high school friend who was also a promoter, and he did a lot with a lot of these hip hop artists. And I think that he was involved with bringing Wiz to Purdue and setting it up with one of these frats. And I mean, it was like the perfect night. It's like 75 degrees outside. You know, it's nice. You're at basically this frat house outside. There's so many people there. Wiz is like the biggest thing at Purdue at the time because of the way his music is just blown up.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome night. There's probably a couple others. There's definitely a couple others, but those stand out. We were lucky. Like, we had a really close-knit group. Guys really enjoyed being around each other. We had a lot of fun. That's for sure. We had a lot of good times, and whether that was house parties or going to some of the fraternities or whatever, it was a good time.
Couple more before I get you out here. I appreciate the time this morning. Another Purdue one. Are you more, because I've talked to a lot of Purdue athletes. I'm lucky enough that I'm friends with a few of them now, and their answer always seems to surprise me. But are you more of a Harry's guy or a where else guy?
I've got to go with Harry's. I love Herschel, the owner, and Mary Cook is the best. Honestly, really underrated chicken wings. They have really good food. Really? I don't know if a lot of people know that, but there's great food at Harry's. And of course, like, where else is a special place, because, and I know both. I know the old where else and I know the new where else. But it was always like the last stop of the night, right? You always rolled into where else. And it was always kind of like there was a set pattern to like your night at the bars. And I will say, like, I really enjoyed Jake's. We went to Jake's a good amount in the summer because there weren't a lot of people there.
Yeah.
We watched like the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs because the Blackhawks were good. And we just totally, I mean, I'm from around Chicago, but we totally hopped on the bandwagon and rode that with like the Jonathan Tays and Patrick Kane championships that they won. But we'd go there and like eat hot dogs and watch the game, and we always had a good time at Jake's. But it's like during school, it was always like, all right, go to Harry's and then hit Brothers and then finish it where else. Like, that was like just the roadmap to having fun that night. Like, absolutely. So I honestly, I love all the bars that were at Purdue. And I mean, the Cactus, I think everybody was just sick when that closed, because it was such a big part of it was your Thursday night. Yep. You went to the Cactus, you went and saw Bruce in the piano bar. I mean, that. Do
you still have the Thomas cups? We got to.
Oh, yeah. I have a bunch of them at my house. I've got a bunch in Chicago. I'll always have those things just because they remind me of so many good times.
There you go.
So, yeah. I think that all the bars are great, but I have to go with Harry's. It just brings back like so many awesome times of being at Purdue, whether it's Grand Prix or just a normal night on a weekend or whatever. So nice. I have to go with Harry's.
And then last one, people are blowing up the comments here, and I want to know, obviously, too, Indiana. They just hired Mike Woodson, bring on Thad Matta. What are your thoughts about that hire and where IU's going? Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised just because I thought they might go with somebody with some more college experience coaching-wise. And, you pay Archie Miller $10 million in a buyout, which is a lot. So, Coach Woodson, I've met him a couple times. I worked out for the Clippers, and he was an assistant there. So I've been around him a little bit. He is so well respected in basketball circles and in that NBA kind of world. But, coaching in college is so much different than the NBA in the sense of, like, if you're an NBA assistant, you do some scouts. I think your main job as an assistant in the NBA is to have a good understanding of what your players are going through and kind of being a sounding board for them and helping them. Because a lot of those guys have been through it. Mike Woodson had played in the NBA for a long time and coached in the NBA for a long time. I think the Thad Matta hire is really smart because you need somebody there to kind of help him navigate what this is. Because in college, you're like part basketball coach, part academic advisor, part father. Like
Yeah, sure.
there's a lot of roles you play when you're coaching and you have your own program. So I think that him getting good assistants and filling out his staff is going to be really important. I think Juwan Howard kind of opens the door for hires like this to be looked at as, okay, this can be good because he's been so effective at Michigan.
Yeah.
But you look at his staff that he hired, like Phil Martelli is a head coach for 27 years at St. Joe's, and you bring in Howard Isley, who's been an NBA assistant and also, was a really good player in the NBA. And then you fill it up with Saudi Washington, who was a Beeline assistant and considered one of the better assistant coaches in the Big Ten. So I think him filling out his staff is going to be important. I don't doubt that he'll be terrific X's and O's wise. It's about recruiting. It's about those other things that I talked about where you're just kind of doing stuff outside of basketball. But, I think it's always cool when you bring back somebody from their alma mater and they have pride, like a Juwan Howard or we have with Matt Painter, because they want the school to do so well. They have such a connection there, and we'll see. I think time will obviously only tell.
Robbie, thanks so much for waking up with me, man. Enjoy this weekend with the Final Four, and I really appreciate it, dude. Good talking to you.
Thanks for having me, Joey. Anytime.
All right, that's Robbie Hummel, Purdue legend. As you heard, he broadcasts for everybody, Big Ten Network and Westwood One and ESPN, and just a great dude. And first I'm going to talk to him, so that was awesome. Really, really enjoyed that conversation. But now we got to get to Carl. We got to get to my guy Barstool Carl. Happy opening day, man.
What's up? Can you guys hear me okay?
We're good. We're great. Yeah. How we feeling, man?
I'd be better if I didn't have to see Robbie Hummel before opening day. That guy haunted my dreams at the University of Illinois. Here comes Robbie Hummel, 27-15. Every time that dude came to Assembly Hall, he put a beating on my Illini. But we're off Robbie Hummel. We're on to the Chicago Cubs. I'm juiced up. I'm not trying to brag. I'm going to the game. So yeah.
I'm that's awesome. Good for you. I mean, I'm super, super jealous. But what's the weather like up there? Are we gonna be like? You got to be in your fucking stocking cap and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not cold, wet, and shitty, but it is cold and shitty. It's tailgate weather. And here's the other thing: we're coming out of we're gonna be doing like big merch pushes. You were on the call. We're on the call. Everybody's on the call. We know what's going on at Barstool. And so this is the strongest layer I have. So I'm going to do 6 long sleeves, Under Armours, everything, and then drop the Barstool Chicago hoodie over it so that I get it out there. People see it. It's like, where to get it,
Well, yeah, no, that looks fucking phenomenal. And the Cubs colors and everything, that's great. So that's dropping today?
Everything's in the store now. Everything's in the store now. There's so much shit. There's so much shit in the Barstool Chicago store. I can't, if we drop more stuff, they're like, we don't have enough pages for all your shit now. So it's just like a promo. It's like, so we'll be at this. That's what I'm saying. It's so cold outside. I'm going to bear through it for promotional purposes. That's a company man thing. I'm just,
there you go. You get the old liquor coat, right? The Miller Lite coat, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Those start at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard.
Right. So where are you hitting before? Now you're going to Wrigley. Where were we hitting in Wrigleyville?
Now listen to this. There's a Miller Lite shortage nationally. We drank too much of it during quarantine. I'm not joking. So I do have a thing set up with Miller Lite. The last place, Deuces and Diamonds, is the last bar on Clark Street that has oodles of Miller Lite, or maybe Sluggers too, but they're not. So I'm going to be at Deuces and Diamonds at 11 a.m. handing out Miller Lights from like 11 to 12:45. We got the Miller Lite budget this morning. Come get some cold ones. Say hello to me. I'll be handing them out. Deuces and Diamonds.
I wish Deuces and Diamonds, Clark with Carl, oodles of Miller Lite. Fuck, man, I'm so mad. Like
I said oodles. I said oodles. Fuck. What are you doing for the game?
I'm probably. I mean, like maybe I'll go to like Fat Dan's or something around here. Like, I mean, that's it though. Like, I don't have. That's what Indy's 3. I could push it and probably get 3 hours to get up to Wrigleyville, but I couldn't get there by 11 a.m. To Deuces and Diamonds. So maybe I looked at it though, and I was like, this weekend maybe, I don't know. Like I gotta get up there to the office with you guys since you guys are so close. But two, with the Cubs back, I gotta fucking go. I gotta.
Man.
No. Okay. I need to know what are your sources telling you? Is Rizzo going to stay a Cub? Are we going to have Anthony Rizzo forever, or what's going on?
My sources are close to this, guys. All right, my sources are very close to this Anthony Rizzo stuff. I'm going to say he legitimately does not want to play anywhere else. Why would you? I mean, that's a logical thing. Everything here is here, and he's not a guy who wants to like go and post up in the American League for a couple of years and build new bonds. Like he's a Cub, he wants to retire a Cub, and he's not the guy who's gonna like drag out his career and like, well, I still want to compete and play. It's like when he has that year where it's like, all right, dude, back's a little wobbly. This is actually like you're starting out. I think that's it for him. So I would say realistically, he stays as a Cub. The fan pushback to the Cubs has been as strong as anything I've ever seen. The fans unite about something. Pay the fucking guy. So like I think give it enough time and the Cubs are going to be like, well, we screwed this one up.
I don't get behind a lot of like. I try to maybe submit the Hoosier in me. I try to just kind of lay low. I don't like to like get into a lot of like movements or cause a ruckus. But I will cause a ruckus for Anthony Rizzo, and I will do it until the Cubs fucking make a Vito Corleone. Either your brains or your signature is going to be on that contract. Like I will do that because there is no other place. Like, what do you give to the shit that like he'd be interested in going home to Miami to play for the fucking Marlins? No, dude, that's rat stuff. That is not true. Like, he just wants to be in Chicago. He likes Chicago. He's a Chicago guy. Like, there's nothing about Rizzo that says he wants to take a bag of money and go play somewhere else because he's well paid. He's just like a regular blue collar dude, and he does want to get fucked though. And he thinks I think he thinks beyond all this, the money aside, it's just generally unfair that Paul Goldschmidt gets paid $130 million for 5 years, and he's like, hey, I'm not Paul Goldschmidt. I don't want 130, but I'm not, chopped liver over here. Like I'm one of the best first basemen in the world, and I should be paid what that is, what that's worth, and it's not $14 million a year. How much do you think the nostalgia of it, and because I even tweeted out the Cubs, he caught the ball, man. He was he was the centerpiece on the World Series team. How much do you think the nostalgia of that weighs into we just got to get it done as compared to like maybe it wouldn't be the best, financially and for the future of the club. But at the same time, I feel like you got to kind of put that to the side and just say, this man is a historical figure for this franchise and for this team. You got to keep him.
Dude, it's okay. So the first thing though is like, they're in such a tough spot because Jed Hoyer's, this is like his first year is like the guy calling all the shots, not the GM, but the guy calling all the shots. And like, he can't be Anthony Rizzo's bitch his first year. It's like you go into prison, you got to beat up the toughest dude. Like he's got to lowball Rizzo. He's got to figure out how to get Rizzo team friendly. And maybe there's some pressure with Jed Hoyer to kind of be like, yeah, I figured I negotiated with Anthony Rizzo. Where I think maybe a more senior GM with a better long-standing relationship around a team would just be like, hey, here's a situation with this guy. Just cut this guy the check. The fans will go nut. Like otherwise, this will be a disaster. Like the Cubs are so siloed and segmented that like I don't know if Jed really gives a fuck if the fans are upset about the Anthony Rizzo contract because it's not Jed's job and they don't ask Jed to care about that stuff. That's somebody else's job. And so just like the fact that Jed is in his first year and he's trying to pull this kind of throws us for a little bit of a loop here. And then the other factors working against us is like, he had a bad season, 58 games last year, but it was 58 games. If he had 222 through the first 58 games this season, you know what everyone would say? Just 58 games. There's 162. Wait,
Right. You'd be in the end of May and nobody would give a shit, right? I mean,
they totally missed and whiffed on how much fans and where we put Rizzo. It's like, no, Rizzo's our guy. He's number one. Like that's our number one guy. Like I love Javi to death. Javi's my number two guy. I love Javi to death. He's my number 2 guy. Like, Rizzo's been here longer. He's done it more. He's just the guy. And so if we have to bring in these new crop of young dudes and we're going to bring in a Jock Peterson, I want Jock Peterson to be able to talk to Anthony Rizzo. And guess what? Jock Peterson won't be here next year. There's going to be another Jock Peterson. And there's going to be more of these Jock Peterson types that are established big leaguers looking to, take the next step in their career that aren't bona fide free agents. There's going to be prospects that come up. There's going to be fucking the bums in September that come up who are 20th round draft picks that are trying to find their way and maybe get a couple of bats. You're going to have huge prospects like Brennan Davis. And you know who I want there? I want Anthony Rizzo there. Cut the man a check.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just like, that makes sense though, right?
It absolutely makes sense. I couldn't agree. There's nothing in the world that I agree more with than what you just said. Now, with that being said, is Javi, is KB? I mean, what are they going to be here? Or is it all in on Rizzo and whatever else happens? Fuck those.
I think you have to start with Rizzo 1 and then you figure out Javi 2. And then Chris Bryant is as much as I would love Chris Bryant to have been a Cub for life, they didn't manage that appropriately. And he's going to want to change the scenery. You just know that for a fact. That guy all he wants to do is just go play baseball and hit and play third base. And he dates the same girl from high school. He wants to go out in the parking lot and get in the car with his wife and drive home and stop at Chili's and pick. The dude's life hasn't changed since he was 16 years old. He doesn't want to be in the middle of the circus where people are like, are you going to get traded? What's your arbitration value? All stuff. He's like, dude, I don't know. All I ever have done is hit with my dad, and I hit home runs really far.
That's really impressive.
Thank you. I spent some time with him, and I didn't even do it. Just subconsciously, I just did an impression in front of the impression master. I need to take a laugh. What am I doing?
Oh, that was fucking money, dude. That was a great Chris Bryant. It was.
I honestly feel like I just threw a fastball to Sammy Sosa. All right, let me take a step back. So I think KB's in a tough spot. I think KB's in a tough spot, and I think for reasons outside of everybody's control, it's probably best he moves on. It's probably best. I would love it if he stayed, but I think Boris is probably like, yo, dude, LA would love to have you. Or there's places we can just throw you around. They're going to pay you. The fans don't really give a shit. You can go put up your numbers. It's not. Rizzo's handled the circus so well comparatively, where he's just this dumb pretty boy who's like, hey, yeah, I'm Anthony Rizzo. Eat a Rick and Betty sandwich. Come check me out. I'm in the neighborhood. That's the difference between him and KB, where KB's more he's just KB's I don't know. I'm Chris Bryant. I'm quiet. And then Javi, you just got to keep him. He sells so many jerseys, an international superstar. Every single kid in the prospects in minor leagues and every kid you're going to be signing is going to be like, dude, that's Javi's team. And that's how I can, and to have that guy, that face, the swaggiest fucking of the swaggiest players at a time when that shit matters is dude, cut that guy a check too. I don't give a fuck if he hits 230 this year. Cut him a check.
Because he's gonna hit 230 and he's gonna fucking make it look awesome doing it. And so
yeah.
And
I have on good authority the Cubs will have more ground balls than any other team in National League this year. And it's Javi porn is coming your way because Hendricks, Davies, Mills, Trevor Williams, Arrieta, these are guys that literally have to use the bottom of the strike zone to succeed. They're not going to be big strikeout guys. And so expect Javi Baez to have maybe a 40% increase this year in holy shit moments. You're going to be at least there's going to be so much action for him. So hopefully he stays healthy.
So that's good for him. That's good for us. That's good for merch. That's good for all of it. Arrieta, Arrieta. Yeah. He from what I saw, he looked good in spring training, man. What you think he's going to have a Jake Arrieta Cubs type of year, or is he done?
We get the spring training numbers are there: 17 2/3, 16 strikeouts, a 4.08 ERA. Just the very top line numbers before you look at peripherals, which I wouldn't do for spring training. But if he did that this season, he's great and he's serviceable. Yeah, I'm interested to see what baseball has done with the balls this year. Yeah, and that's a weird thing to be interested in, but that's the shit that'll matter to a guy like Jake. if they have home run balls or have expanded from where the home run balls were last year, where they're like plastic, a little bit harder, and they just changed them a little bit. I thought that I read, though, that they were going to try and lessen it, that the balls were going to be like 5% as effective as they were last year, which could mean a huge difference to not just a guy like Arrieta, the entire Cubs pitching staff, but Jake at this point in his career, he's totally evolved. Pitch to contact, a lot of sweeping two-seamers you're going to see to right-handed hitters, and a lot of maybe more sweeping, sliders, and just it's going to look like the same old Jake. It's going to be about 3 miles to 4 miles an hour slower, and it's probably going to have a little bit more break, like the men's league. Like you see, like, oh, that's a guy from high school, and then you see him a couple years later in men's league, and it's like, oh, he's got a little more drop on the curve, not as much velocity. I think with everybody too with Jake, it's just manage expectations because I love him and he deserves everybody's respect. So even if he has those games where he shits the bed, it's like it's Jake Arrieta. Like show some fucking respect. He came home,
Absolutely. Okay, so looking ahead, grand picture of 2021. Let's get Rizzo back. Let's get Baez back.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to surprise people? Are we? What are your expectations? What are your predictions for this year?
What do you want me to say?
I want the truth. Actually, I want both. I want baseball analyst Carl, and then I want Cubs fan Carl.
All right. Cubs fan Carl is
start with the other one. Go. No, okay. Go. Baseball analyst first, and then Cubs fan because in my head I'm thinking that it's going to be bad news, good news, but maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's good news, bad news.
I think Cubs fan is the negative one. So I'm going to be negative first.
Oh, all right.
So I'm going to be negative first. Can't sign Rizzo. Theo's gone. Len Casper went to the South Side. Kyle Schwarber, is over to the Nationals. John Lester walks. We look like complete dogs throughout the entire offseason. Our heads are down. We got our dick smashed in by the Miami Marlins. Like, we're coming off a weird 60-game season. Like, we really don't have any pride. And the last time we played a full season, we blew it in September. And the fucking time before that, we blew it in September. For all intents and purposes, going into this season, we have like fresh skeletons in the closet. We have new scar tissue and stuff that we're working through. And as a Cubs fan, I feel like Randy Quaid from Major League stay in the outfield. Like, we fucking suck, and just filled with angst and hatred. His was much more warranted than mine is. But there's just been so much challenge. How about firing Joe Madden? Won a World Series, shit like that. There's so much recent baggage that when you come into the season, it's easy to be like, as a Cubs fan, just like, the fuck, we can't even sign Rizzo now? Like, God, Ricketts. Like, people are like, Ricketts, sell the team. So as a Cubs fan, I'm like, you guys are kind of ruining this right now, and I would like you guys to get it together because this is important to me, and I did not expect that it would be, like, abruptly taken from me. It was like, I'll have years of going up there, Baez to Rizzo, and, then they're going to build a farm. Nope. Looks like they're going to just do another rebuild. So that's Cubs fans. Like, what are you assholes doing? Baseball analysts, love the starting pitching this year. Really do. Durability, depth, guys that can go out there, pitch to contact, the type of guys that if you pitch these guys over 10 games, you're probably going to get 6 quality starts. Can the bats win you a 7th game in there? Can you win? And you're not even asking to win 60% of your games, because then at that point you're winning 100 games and you're first place in division. I think realistically, the starting pitching is good enough to hang around. The bullpen is really questionable. There's a lot of guys that are around the age 30 to 33 that are in that bullpen that were big prospect names that came out of college or came in like the drafts from 2009 to 2012 that are kind of still lingering around that might have great seasons. And is Shelby Miller type of guy, like, does he have a resurgence? And it feels like the Cubs historically have not landed on any of these like rebuilding bullpen arms. And you'll turn on a Twins game and it's like, oh, remember that guy? It's like, holy shit, that guy just – how the fuck they do that? We never get those guys. Is this a year we can get a couple of those guys? Because there's a lot of them in the mix at the back of the bullpen, and nobody's talking about the pitching. The reason nobody's talking about as an importance, when really to me the offense and all this stuff's a guarantee. It's a guarantee they're going to score runs. You have Happ, Jock Peterson, you've got Anthony Rizzo, you've got Javi Baez, Chris Bryant coming off of bad springs in contract years. Nobody says anything about Wilson Contreras. So I mean, there's just tons of reasons.
I know. I feel like we strike out a shit ton.
Oh, I mean, immensely, and that's hitting philosophies. It's also the fact, though, I mean, we do see some pretty good fucking pitching. I mean, that's the pitching just it is what it is. The last lineups, I mean, Ian Happ is unfortunately like he's a strikeout power guy. Schwarber, strikeout power guy. Baez, strikeout power guy. You know, there really isn't anybody in the lineup except Rizzo who doesn't strike out. You know, Hayward.
What about Nico when he's back?
Nah, Nico got fucked, man.
Yeah.
Nico got railed. Does that bother you that like they do that to Nico?
I mean, I just like, yeah, it does. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's an indictment on the fucking franchise. You know, it's like, oh well, if you're a prospect in this franchise and you're coming up, and then we have this opportunity to fucking send you down to the minors, you know, for a little bit, then they're gonna do it, and then it's gonna rub the guys the wrong way. I mean, that's how I look at it.
It's not cool. It's not a cool story.
No,
it's not cool. And people I like hearing about companies that treat their employees well. Like if there's a story in the Wall Street Journal about like, wait till you hear what this, you know, energy firm in Idaho is doing for their employees. I'll fucking soak that shit up. Oh, wow, that's innovative. Now, conversely, what if somebody tells you about oh, I work for this boss. Oh, I work for these people. Oh, this company does this for me. That's salacious. People are like, no, you have to get out of there. You can't work there. You don't let anybody talk to you like that. And so, like the way we personally interact with our friends, family, each other, publicly about work environments, workplaces, personal pride, rights, all this stuff. And then it's like, you look at how the Cubs treat a guy like Nico Horner. You guys drafted him in the first round. I mean, you're sending a signal to this guy like, we want you, you're important, you're it. And then he goes to spring training and he's the second best hitter in spring training. And they're like, no, we need you to, no, you're manipulating service time. And it is what it is. And the problem with the Cubs is they don't think that it impacts the relationship with the player. And they're fucking idiots for thinking that. Because in all material cases, Chris Bryant, one of the dumbest things you could have done with that relationship. You know, Rizzo on this extension. It's disgusting. They took Ian Happ to court for $900,000.
Does that come from the Rick? Is that just the Ricketts, or is it Jed, or who is it?
It's like Jed's first year, remember? So it's like maybe it's Jed. You know, going to arbitration was stupid against Ian Happ.
Yeah.
Stupid. You don't go to arbitration. You settle that shit out of court. You don't actually go to the arbitrator. That never happens.
Especially when it's splitting hairs like that, man.
Oh, yeah, and he's good.
He was the best player on the team last year.
Right. So they're just I think it's a Ricketts. I think it's also a business model thing. I just don't think they have the cash right now. Like I honestly think they fired so many people from the front office last year, which is sad. And not front office from the business side and like, you know, W-2 employees, people that go in there and collect paychecks and get health insurance, and they're just like, hey, we don't have money for you. And you know,
but how does that happen? I'm trying to figure out how that happened. They're rid of stuff. They got everybody coming all the time. They're fucking got TV deals. How do they not have money?
They used a ton of debt to buy the Cubs. They're paying off a bank loan. The bank loan's in the $800 million. That has interest through the roof, and they have financed that through game day operations and all that. So like the fact they have no ticket revenue, no gate revenue, no concessions revenue, no merch revenue, none of that stuff. They have to go into like now. The Ricketts family is plenty wealthy enough to move their assets around, reshuffle the deck, and take a little bit more of a personal bath. They're not willing to do that. I mean, and alternatively, the Ricketts family just partnered with Penny Pritzker, who's the sister of J.V. Pritzker, who's connected. Well, obviously, the Cubs have connections through their front office and executive team to like big names. Uh-huh. And you know, the Cubs have historically, or in Ricketts' time, have been painted as this like conservative, you know, like, well, it's the Ricketts family. Show Ricketts, it's conservative. And like a month or two ago, it just like it was announced in Chicago that the Ricketts family is partnering with the Pritzker family, who's like the complete opposite of conservative. They're partnering with the Pritzker family for like some real estate development in North Lawndale, which is a neighborhood west of UIC on the south part of the city. And it's like an urban space. My point is, What the fuck does that have to do with the Chicago Cubs? And if the Ricketts family came to Chicago and you have all these issues that are going on with the Cubs and the team, what we care about, what like everybody cares about, like go fix. I don't want to open up the Chicago Tribune and see, oh, they're bidding on a 86,000 square foot mixed use urban retail facility, that is, has public good. And you're like, nah, dude, wait a second.
You got to sign
like we have to work on the Cubs right now. And so I think that's the really frustrating part is that they're still going about their business, like nothing like that hasn't changed,
you feel like because it happened so quickly and because they did the thing and then they got to the World Series and they won the World Series that they're like, I mean, at the end of the day, how bad can we really be because we fucking did the thing and now we just can do our other ventures?
I don't know if it was that intentionally malicious, but it was definitely like, you hit the big sale at work and it's like, all right, well, I'm a partner, like I'm walking around like I already did the shit I had to do. So like now I'm going to go play a little bit more golf, right. I'm going to go fuck around a little bit more. And I think, the other thing though is like Theo hit it out of the park with those 2015 and 16 rosters. And, like, there's like no coming back from that. Like, not bringing back Dexter Fowler, crazy. Jorge Soler for Wade Davis, crazy. Like, we won it because we traded for Chapman, but, like, Gleyber Torres is a perennial all-star. So there's just, like, a lot of movement and shit that happened in there that kind of set us up for this. That I think kind of gets overlooked a little bit. Yeah. That's part of the trade-off for the World Series. But to me, it's like the Ricketts family could do, I think from what I know, based on public information and based on being around the team and covering it, that the Ricketts family could do more to keep the Cubs intact short term and bridge a gap to when we're out of COVID. But I don't think they want to because that would be against their business. Like that would be against their, like how they run the business, how they set the Cubs up. When they said, we're going to buy the Cubs, this is how we're going to run the Cubs. I bet the old man was like, yo, don't fucking come to me 10 years from now asking for money. You guys want to buy this? Run this. So now they're running it and they like, Tom's not going to go to dad and be like, hey, can you liquidate 5% of our holdings in TD Ameritrade because I got to double down on payroll here, whatever, 2%. The dad's probably like, yeah, this is your problem. Deal with it. Because it is very much a father-son, dad dynamic, which is crazy to think about. Crazy. Like,
yeah, just a different world. Like, totally different fucking world,
But it's opening day. I'm sorry. It's opening day.
True.
Season projections, 87 wins. I like Anthony Rizzo to hit 36 home runs. I like Javi Baez to win a Gold Glove. I like Ian Happ to cement himself as a dynamic leadoff hitter, not just center fielder, like a dynamic leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Big season.
All right. That's it, man. Deuces and Diamonds, 11 o'clock Central Time?
We gotta get you up to Chicago for a game. Yeah, Deuces and Diamonds, 11:30 or whatever.
I come up there I come up there every year, and now it'll just be different because hopefully people will be out and about in Wrigleyville more, and I'm with you guys, so it'll be awesome. But Deuces and Diamonds with Carl, the last bit of Miller Lite there, 11:30, 11-ish, whatever, and then we got the Cubs and the Buccos coming up. So it's a great day, Carl. Happy opening day, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe.
It's fucking awesome. See you, buddy. That's Carl. Man, exactly what we wanted. Brought the heat, brought the energy, kept it real about the Cubs, but also we got excited about the Cubs because at the end of the day, it is opening day, and we're going to figure out how to pay Rizzo, and we're going to figure out what's going to happen with this team in the future, and we're going to figure out if we're ever going to, get back with this core to where we wanted to be and where we thought we were going to be in 2015, 2016. But that's for a different time. Today, it's Cubs, it's Pirates, it's Wrigley Field. It's the sun's going to be shining. It's Anthony Rizzo is going to be on the screen. It's the professor. The class is now in session. Kyle Hendricks is on the bump, and that's all that matters for today. Told you we were going to go long because how could I cut that man off? That was amazing. Robbie Hummel, fantastic. Carl, amazing as well. Thanks so much for waking up with me. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow, live at 9. Go Cubs, baby.